Good morning, friends. One of the things that I notice when I talk to clients is that we often have conflict, and I don't think that's a surprise to many people. But one of the things that I was taught is that we only have two fights. And some of you might say, Holly, I'm pretty sure I have more than two fights in the world, whether it's a coworker, a friend, a family member, my partner, my kid. Those fights are more than just two. So I'm going to challenge you a little bit. First, I want you to think about what are the fights you have? What are the things that you have conflict about? And what is at the core of it? So the very first fight I was told that we have is whether or not something is a problem. So think about what it is that you're experiencing in your conflicts. Do you think it's a problem? And does your partner agree that it's a problem? So there are things, whether it's a parenting issue or a respective time issue with a friend or anything like that. Is this a problem? So a lot of couples, money or parenting or boundaries with in-laws or things like that, or even friendships of like how we spend our time or how we don't spend our time, whether we respond to text messages quickly or not. I have a teenager who has friends who do not text back when she knows they're on their phone. But I also have, I'm related to people who do that. The thing is like recognizing, is it a problem? So sometimes the problem is actually a problem. So if, for example, your partner has an addiction of some kind, whether it's to substances or a behavior such as gambling or pornography or shopping, any kind of addictive process. So there will be conflict there. Oh, yes, it is a problem for one of them. So maybe the one partner sees it as a problem. I don't like how much you drink, or I'm having a really hard time with the amount of spending you're doing, or things like that. So the first conflict is it a problem? So being able to recognize whether or not it's a problem and then getting on the same page about it. Because oftentimes we jump to the second fight before we even agree on the first one. So firstly, is it a problem? The rule that I was taught was something called the lower rating rule, which means that whatever the lower score is the one that rules. So for example, if I ask you a question and with your partner, from 0 to 10, how great is your communication? And your partner's like, oh, it's 11. I tell them everything. We're on the same page. We're in sync. We're a well-oiled machine. And you say, not exactly. There's things I don't feel like I can say. There's things that I don't feel like I know everything about what's going on. There's secrets that have been kept because of addictive processes, things like that. So whatever the score is, if you say it's a 2 and they say it's 11, cool. But whatever the lower rating is rules. Okay? So now, some people want to say, well, this is a big problem. It's an 11. Okay, so let's look at the quality of the thing, because it's not about, oh, this is how big it is. Like, how good is what the thing is. And if it's low, that's a problem. And the thing is, if it's a problem for one, it becomes a problem for the other, because people get anxious or demanding or things like that make it difficult. Now, once we've established it is a problem, the second thing we disagree about is what's the solution. So, for example, if there is an addictive process, okay, what's the solution? Well, the solution is that you never do anything wrong ever again. You just are automatically cold turkey, no more shopping, no more porn, no more substances, no more anything, done. Okay, do both people agree on that? Or is the emotional reaction making it difficult to come to an agreement? Because I have some clients who the solution is go to treatment. You need to be in inpatient treatment. There are some people that it's like, hey, I just need you in therapy. Hey, the solution right now is we need to separate. Hey, the solution right now is some boundaries. Everybody's solution will be different depending on their circumstance and the issue at hand. And so being able to recognize, okay, what is our solution? And here's the thing. There are some situations, especially in addictive patterns, where if the person's actively in their addiction, they're not open to a solution. And so you get to have to do that conflict within yourself of like, what do I feel my solution is? Okay, I need to feel safe. Okay, cool. What does that look like? Does that mean I ask them to leave? Does that mean a temporary separation? Does that mean I'm going to therapy? What does that look like? Because when we start looking at, okay, what is my problem and what is the solution, it becomes a different thing. For example, in the example of someone who doesn't text back and isn't very consistent in returning messages or calls, okay, is the problem that they're not returning, or is the problem that I don't have a lot of grace and space and compassion for their little ADHD tendencies? Oh, maybe I need some grace, space, and compassion for them. But recognizing that at some point saying, hey, I get that you have a hard time responding to my messages, and I get that you're all over the place. Could you please, hey, just leave my notification on your phone until you respond so that you don't forget about it? Or can you make sure you text me back within 2 days? Something that invites you to be respected while also respecting the process of another is really important. So as you start noticing the conflicts you're having, notice which fight you're in. And here's the other piece. A lot of times we're in the different fight. One person is in solution while the other person is in problem. And it creates so much conflict, and it's very circular because nobody can agree because we're in different fights. So recognizing, is it a problem? What's the solution? And then beginning to have that conversation is super important. Have a good week.